so keep that in mind.
Yeah, hey, forget I asked. That'll definitely do.
Ew. Join the Discord.
It was the least fun I've ever had playing this game.
A small but vibrant and extremely humble community.
No, I've seen the sleeves, but I'm like, you said you're suiting up and then you put your sleeve on. Thank you for saying that.
Because I'm a demon on the keys.
Next thing I know, we're both dead. I immediately left the lobby.
In Vietnam.
What are they playing for? Are they playing to win?
Stay humble.
Stay humble.
We're recording. Welcome, boys and girls, to the Dropshot, a Call of Duty podcast bonus episode number 67. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon. I am joined by young Tanner, who probably has the same hat on again.
Which one do you think it is?
Fortunately, the one you wore last time.
So what was that one?
I don't know.
Got it.
So I'm envisioning a hat that has it's a drab mauve color, maybe. Lots of cat hair on it. Gross looking. Almost the same color as your like curtains or whatever. Am I about getting it right?
Not even close, no.
Bet I am.
I'm wearing the black one, and the last time I wore the black one, like last week, you said the same thing. That's the same one you've been wearing for 2 weeks. That's how I know you're just always wrong and incorrect, because you always think it's the same one when they're completely different colors. Hey, maybe that's why you can't see things in Warzone. Something's fucked up with your monitor, bud. Check your set. Hey, is your monitor black and white? Have you ever made sure it's on color mode?
Is it monochrome?
You should probably check that,
Yeah.
you fucking idiot.
Got it. Welcome to the show. Today, and Tanner's hat that he's worn for the past 2 months, it's infected his brain. Really,
Got
it's
it.
seeping into his brain and it's rotting, which explains that whole outburst. We'll call it. Welcome to the show. So today we're doing a Patreon episode. Now, again, today's the 23rd at the time of recording this of December. This is going to go live for regular peasants at a time. So this is going to be another Patreon gone public if you're listening on an app. And this is going to be, I think, in fact, a better representation, of what our Patreon episodes are like than our last Patreon episode. So bonus episode 66, we talked about our second impressions of Caldera. And the vibe of that, the cadence, the rhythm, was Patreon-like. But the topic wasn't necessarily, because that was a topic we would have done on a Saturday. But today, we are doing a very Patreon-specific type of episode, type of format. So if you enjoy this episode and you're not a patron, this is going to be fairly indicative of what you can expect, the type of content you can expect in our bonus episodes for the Patreon. So we're not doing anything live on Saturday. This will go public. Patrons got it first, and they got it without ads. So with that said, welcome. Let's see. A couple of Patreon specific announcements before we get into the episode. Now, normally you can skip the announcements. Maybe you're new and you're listening to this, but in this case, I am not timestamping this. It is Christmas. I'm on vacation. Stay mad. So just a couple things to get through here real quick. First of all, we had been talking about doing a Patreon overhaul and having that ready by January. However, we will not be doing that. It's going to be February instead. The reason for this is we are working on a number of things in general for the podcast, the merch being one, the overhaul is another. We have a couple other little surprises planned that we haven't announced at all yet. And so with all of that on the horizon, we thought maybe we should have a special episode 200 of the program. So we're going to basically just save the Patreon overhaul for that. We're going to announce the details on episode 200. Maybe do some other little goodies, gifts to you guys on that day. And then the announcement would be late January, episode 200, and then it'll go live on Patreon for February. So, for the month of January, it's going to be business as usual over here on the Patreon. And episode 200 is going to be really fucking fun, and it's going to be very live viewer centric. We're really going to try and cater to those of you who can be there live. It's still going to be a good episode to listen to on apps like everything we've ever done, obviously. But we're going to have extra incentive to be there live. So try to clear out your calendars when we announce the date and time for episode 200. But it's going to be some January 20-something, I would assume. So that is that. As far as the Patreon overhaul, it's going to go basically how we had envisioned the last time we talked about it a couple weeks ago on a Patreon episode. That's pretty much what we're going to go with. We've finalized what we're doing with the overhaul. There were some minor tweaks since we last kind of were talking about it. Nothing crazy though, nothing major. And we'll get into very concrete specifics pretty soon. Well, on episode 200. So that's what we'll be doing. And then for you patrons, we'll probably leak every specific little detail before that. So that'll be coming sometime early January probably. Now today we are doing a multiplayer brainstorm. Tanner, have we done one of these yet for a Patreon episode? I don't know.
I don't think we did, because last month we did like some class setups, our favorite like attachments and stuff. We went over the perks. So I don't think we've kind of discussed things that could be like considered a brainstorm type episode, but I don't think we actually did a brainstorm yet.
Okay, I think you're right, because I was unclear. I don't know if we've done one, but that's what we're going to do today. And we're thinking of making this a fairly regular segment for the Patreon. For those of you who've been patrons a while, we do Warzone brainstorms very often. This is like top 3 or favorite format for a Patreon episode that we do. I really love doing the Warzone brainstorms. They're actually super productive too. And it gives us time to talk about things, theorize about things that we otherwise simply wouldn't. So there are a lot of things I've tried in Warzone, some of which sticks, some of which doesn't, that I would not have thought of were it not for doing the Warzone brainstorms. And then by virtue of that, for those of you listening to those episodes, maybe you can take something away from them too. So I really enjoy doing those. They're fun to do and they're actually productive. And we're going to be trying to incorporate that same format into multiplayer brainstorm episodes. I'm hoping that they are similarly productive and insightful to you guys listening. And we think it's a really good idea and we're excited to kind of start doing it. So these aren't necessarily going to be guaranteed every month. Maybe they will. We'll get into that again when we discuss the overhaul details, but that's what we're doing today. So that I think is it for me for announcements. Tanner, anything from you?
Yeah, and then the last episode for like gold will be a Warzone brainstorm next week as well. So we have one of those coming this month as well. So that'll be a good one.
Yes, it will. That's going to be fun. And then we'll dovetail that into a public roundtable episode about Warzone, which I'm very excited for as well. All right, other than that, that's it. If you were listening for the jingle, here it is.
There it is.
Smile.
Oh, Cox. Ah.
Cox indeed.
What?
I said Cox indeed. All right.
Got it.
Welcome. So, as I said, multiplayer brainstorm today. Now, these are things we've been thinking about, thoughts we've had. The purpose of a brainstorm usually is to, Warzone or multiplayer, is to posit a question and then see if we can come up with an answer to that question. So, for example, this is a perfect example. We've done a Warzone brainstorm episode back when Verdansk was in play, where I asked, what is the best blue perk in Warzone? And this was before, like, Tempered and before Combat Scout. Not that those are blue perks, but still. And it was before Caldera. And everyone kind of just ran, like, EOD just because. And I was like, they're all... I mean, EOD's good, but is there a better blue perk? And we actually had a good conversation about it, and I think it made me change to double time for a long time. And that was like actually something that was pretty productive.
Yeah.
And that's, but when I asked the question for that episode, I didn't know the answer. I was like, I don't know. Like maybe not. And then other times I ask questions and then we kind of talk about it and we realize, okay, no, bad idea. So that's usually how these brainstorms go. That's the ideal for these. There's some of that in this episode. Some of it is just some observations, and we're going to kind of go through maybe why we think these things and see if we can glean some insights from them. So in no particular order, some random thoughts we've been having. First and foremost, to zoom out, as they say. I hate when people say that, but I
zoom
just
out
did.
on your camera.
No, Tanner.
Got it.
When you anyway,
Got it.
I am an absolute shipment the map gamer now in multiplayer. So I'm at the point in my evolution where if I want to play something competitive, I'll go play Warzone. But if not, I just want immediate action, and shipment is the place for that. So, like when we were playing Black Ops 4, for example, Tanner and I, that was when we came back to Call of Duty after 10 years off of it, basically. And that was not cross-platform. There was no one playing Blackout, and we weren't interested in Blackout anyway, even if there had been people playing it. I don't think we would have been playing it much.
I would have been
Certainly
interested,
not.
but
yeah,
I
we
mean,
would have tried it for sure.
We didn't have a choice on PC, so yeah.
Yeah, you literally just couldn't find a lobby. So, because we didn't start at launch. Like Black Ops 4 on launch on PC, people played Blackout, but not when we started playing. We started playing like 6 months in, then just no one was playing. So, anyways, when we were playing Black Ops 4, we would play all the maps, and we had fun doing it because we wanted like competitive multiplayer games. So rather than playing Nuketown 24/7 the entire day, and sometimes we did that because Nuketown is awesome. Nuketown's also not nearly as insane and absurd as Shipment is, by the way.
BO4
It
Nuketown
can
fucked
be.
too. That was a good
It was
version
so
of
good.
Nuketown.
It was so goddamn good, yeah. And it's also just not as small of a map as Shipment. So there is more competitiveness to Nuketown for sure. But even despite that, there would be a Nuketown 24/7 playlist, and we would opt out of it because we wanted to play on other maps, more competitive maps. And what I mean by competitive is that you're not going to die to someone who spawns right behind you, because we didn't play TDM. If you play TDM, that happens. But we would play like Dom or Hardpoint. And if you're playing on a normal map, like Arsenal, for example, or, well, I hate Arsenal. Arsenal was pretty good. I'm thinking of Contraband. So, awesome map. If you're playing Contraband, you're not going to die to someone spawning behind you if you're playing Dom. It's never going to happen. Like, and you're also not going to die to like a cross map, just random fucking nade. And other dumb shit like that. You'll die to operator abilities, but you can't escape that. Dog shit Black Ops 4 mechanic. But like, yeah, we would opt out of Nuketown and for just regular Dom on varied maps, because we wanted to like have a competitive environment sometimes where we wanted to try to you know, just not be constantly just in the shit. So our ideal maybe Black Ops 4 game would be like, if it was me, Tanner, and like Itchy, or that's pretty much the only person we played with really. Or what was his fucking name? What was the guy's name? Chris's friend. DJ Papa Squat.
DJ Papa.
I play with him.
Rip.
You know, F's in the chat for DJ Papa Squat. Yeah. Like we would all play together, and the ideal game would be like Icebreaker Dom against another 3-stack of like Prestige 1000s. That was really fun because it was like actually competitive, and you're not going to just drop nukes in that game. It's not going to happen, but it's still really fun. More fun than just shitting, pissing, and farting all over a bunch of level 2s.
BO4 was a harder, more competitive game in
that's
nature
also true.
as well.
That's also true.
You know,
exactly.
With the higher time to kill than Cold War, Vanguard, and Modern Warfare, it was just higher skill gap, essentially.
Way higher skill gap. Yeah. You way more health, way more shots to kill. You could see people clearly always. Was not cross-platform. No one there. You couldn't use aim assist. Even if you used a controller on PC, the game would let you, but you couldn't turn on aim assist with it.
Oh, is that how it worked?
Terrible.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Because Michael played with us for a while, and he was playing on a controller, and he's like, "Dude, I'm terrible." And then he told me, he looked it up. He's like, "Yeah, you don't get aim assist on PC, even if you have a controller." So then he went to keyboard and mouse and started doing way better. So I was like, and that's another reason why it's way more competitive, because everyone was on the same input too. So it was really, really fun playing those competitive games. And all of that is to say, we did not opt into just constant action all the time because we wanted to have a competitive aspect to the game sometimes. But now, that is not true for me in Vanguard multiplayer anymore, because I'm done playing multiplayer to have a fun competitive match. I'm done. I don't want to. I don't care. If I want to compete, I'll go play Warzone, and that's where I'll have like, that's where I'll scratch my like competitive itch, because you can't get away from competition. Every lobby has SPMM. Everyone's just as good as you. You have to like, you know, be on your game, and you're gonna get that competitive kind of environment. Whereas, you know, in Vanguard multiplayer, you can get that, but I don't want to. Because again, if I want to have a competitive game, I'd rather just go play Warzone. So when I play multiplayer now, it's always shipment for me. It's always shipment. It's always DOS house. Even despite the fact that a lot of the maps in this game are like fun and good, don't care. Don't care. Hey, Bocage. That's what, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was trying to figure out the fucking word. I like that map a lot. I think it's a fucking good map. Don't care though. Still gonna play shipment instead. Because I just want instant ADD action at all times.
That's what you play multiplayer for, yeah.
Exactly. Yes. And that used to not be the case, but now for me it is, because if I don't want to do that, I'll go play Warzone. What are your thoughts on all of this?
Well, that's kind of why the search community to me is a little weird, because it's like, why are you getting so competitive on a multiplayer game that no one cares about? I don't know, you know? It's like anyone good at Call of Duty is playing Warzone, not search multiplayer anyways. So yeah, part of the reason I think BO4 felt competitive was because since the player base was small, and they're, you know, you would go up against like the same 3 stacks often, like you were saying, it'd be fun because you're like, oh, here's this guy. They have their little 3 stack. Let's fucking rape him, and we would play the objective really hard. I'm thinking of the Mexican dude, the Spanish speaker, Cuba's. Cuba's always had. What is he?
He's South American of some.
Oh,
kind.
he speaks Spanish.
He does speak Spanish. Yeah.
Got it.
Anyways,
So
whatever.
he speaks Spanish.
We'll edit that out.
Shout out to Cuba's, good guy. But yeah, so it's like him and his little 3 stack. We'd always go up against him, and then we would get all over the objective. It's like first team to get their Thresher just rolled streaks the rest of the game, and it was very fun. And you know, it was probably like that too, looking back, was because we didn't have another option. There wasn't a BR option for us. It didn't exist. So that's why it felt so much more competitive than the last 3 CODs have ever felt in multiplayer for me.
Yeah. 100%.
You know, the other thing about like competition or competitive is, you know, everyone wants a ranked mode. People always want this. They beg for it because you care about like competitive game modes. It comes out and it's dead within 4 weeks because people don't actually care about it. People want ranked modes so bad in multiplayer. It comes out, they hate it because they get placed against sweats even more than usual with SBMM, and then everyone's already over it. It's like, of course the devs don't care about ranked mode anymore. Look at the last CODs. They don't give a fuck. No one plays it.
Yeah.
Cold War had a ranked mode. Who the fuck played that?
Exactly. I think a lot of the reason people want a ranked mode is because, oh, sorry, let me.
Yeah, it's like they like think they need something to make it more competitive and like it's going to make it more fun for them, but in reality it's just not going to do that for them, and then they're going to complain about everything.
Yeah, and also what it is, I think, too, is that a lot of people are under the misapprehension that if there is a ranked mode, even if they don't play it, that means SBMM will be less strict in non-ranked modes because now there's a ranked mode. Imagine thinking Activision would do that. Of course not. What they would do, and what they do, which they've done in Cold War, as we saw, and in Modern Warfare, is they'll add in a ranked mode and then also keep SBMM just as strict in unranked. So you're not getting anything for it unless you're going to play the ranked mode, which you won't, as Tanner said.
Yeah.
So, yeah, people just think like, oh, okay, add ranked so that you can do SBMM there only, and everything else is totally connection-based. They won't do that.
Yep.
They're not going to do that. Because SBMM isn't to protect people who might play ranked. It's to protect casuals who would never play ranked anyway.
Yeah.
The whole point of SBMM is to keep shitty players away from good players. They don't think that the casual players are going to go play ranked. So if casuals aren't going to play ranked, then having SBMM in ranked to protect casuals doesn't make sense. The goal of SBMM is to protect the casuals, and if the casuals are going to play unranked, then that's where they're going to put the SBMM.
Yep.
Even if there is a ranked mode. So, yeah, I totally agree.
But, yeah, so I'm kind of at the same point as I just play shipment, you know. I don't care a whole lot about the other maps anymore. You know, I'll just go play Warzone if I want to actually play something that feels more competitive, and more rewarding to get wins at and stuff, you know, I'll just go play that. So I'm the same thing. I don't really queue for a whole lot of other maps besides like Shipment or DOS House. I don't even like DOS House that much anymore. I would, if you're talking about like strictly leveling up weapons, Shipment is just better for everything except for long shots. So it's like, I would rather just play that. But yeah,
I
I'm
regret
just kind of
saying DOS House is an instant classic.
Yeah, I don't.
It's terrible.
We also played it so much on launch that's why we started hating it more. So maybe in like a few months, once we, you know, you're not really playing it much anymore, you'll kind of think that again, like, oh yeah, I guess that was a really good map for what it is. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm pretty much just queuing small, quick, fast-paced matches when I play multiplayer at this point.
Yeah, for sure. And then another thing on this topic too. The only real downside of playing like Shipment all the time is that if you're trying to get like Killer Master or you're trying to get a V2, not that there's a medal for it or calling card. Well, there's a medal. There's no calling card or emblem, which there should be. You're not going to get one on Shipment. Now, don't get me wrong. You can. Okay. But if you can get, basically how I see it, getting a V2 on Shipment, a 25 kill streak, is like this. If you're a really good player, you might get a V2 in Shipment if you're pretty lucky. If you're not a very good player, you might get a V2 on Shipment if you're incredibly lucky. But you're probably not going to get one on Shipment if you're not a good player already. Because the upside of the benefit of playing Shipment, if you're trying to get a V2, is that you can get it really fast. And a good way to not die is to reach your goal as quickly as possible. And shipment's the best place to do that. You're never going to get a faster V2 than you would on shipment. So there's less of a duration for you to fuck up your streak by dying. So that like increases your odds of a V2.
Yeah, like getting too nervous, choking.
Yeah, all of that shit. Yes. But the pro of that is vastly outweighed by the con of its shipment. Someone can spawn behind you. God forbid you might have to reload your gun. There's no time for that. Someone's going to throw a random fucking grenade across the map and it's going to detonate in your asshole. It's going to be hard to get a V2. And even like a Ruthless, which you need quite a few of for Killer Master, if any of you were going for that.
Like 8 or so?
Yeah, 8 or 10, I think. But in total. So, yeah, it's not going to be the place for most of you to drop a V2. And if you can drop a V2 on shipment, then it's probably going to be more likely to happen not on shipment. I would say the best way to get a V2 in this game would be to queue for core, hardpoint, or patrol. Have those two in your filter, play way outside the zone, and shoot people going into it. Make sure you have ghost, silencer, all that shit, and then play it slow.
Yeah.
So you guys, maybe some of you remember we did an episode, a nuke breakdown of mine, and I was playing on Super Tens Dom MW 2019 Superstore. What is that map called in multiplayer?
Atlas Superstore.
Atlas Superstar, yes. Okay. So that gameplay footage, the nuke streak itself, not even the whole match, was a good like 10 minutes probably. Maybe more.
Oh, you're a rat. Yeah.
And the reason for that is because I took it super slow. I was way, way off the objective at all times. It was hardpoint. And just like shooting one individual in the back, one kill at a time, 30 times. That's how, if you're not the best player on Earth, you can get a nuke. Now I'm okay. I'm pretty good. 1.5 KD. So that's top, 7% of players. I don't know exactly for multiplayer. My KD is probably a bit higher. But I'd still say probably about top 10 to 7%. So I'm pretty good. But if I'm better than 1 out of 10 people, and I'm playing 10's Dom, there are 20 people in that. There's probably someone better than me in that lobby, statistically. So you got to play it smart. And you got to take it slow. And if you're going for, like a really high streak. And so that's what I would say you should do on Vanguard if you wanted to get, if you're going for Killer Master, even if you wanted to get a Ruthless, it's the same concept as getting a V2. Kill things without dying. Take it slow. I would play Hardpoint or Patrol. Dom could be good too, but the downside of Dom is that people will know where you are. And if you do get behind enemy lines, you're probably going to die because you're going to get 1 or 2 kills. Then someone's going to know you're close to their spawn. They're going to go find you and kill you.
Yeah.
What do you think? If you wanted to get a V2, what would you do? Because you got one on shipment, right?
Yeah, I got one on shipment.
Tell us about it.
Piercing vision, FMJ, and a assault rifle or LMG. It's pretty easy. And play Dom, get them in a spawn trap, just keep shooting through a wall, and it's couldn't be easier, really. And yeah, it's kind of there's less time to get nervous and mess up, because when you're going for like a 30 kill streak on Modern Warfare or something, you get to like 25, you get real nervous, you don't know what to do, you start shitting, farting, vomiting all over your room, your keyboard just has vomit in between the keys, so it's it makes it kind of hard to clutch up. So with this, in a fast game mode, I totally agree with you like that. It's not easy to get a nuke on shipment because of all the BS and everything and terrible spawns, but there's less time to get nervous and end up screwing up because of that. Because you and I combined probably choked literally 30 nukes and
oh my god, in one weekend.
Yeah, in M-Dub, when we were like, what, less than 5 kills off, we combined probably got that 30 times, actually. It was crazy.
It was so often.
I mean, I had 29 like 4 times that weekend. It was crazy, dude. It was fucking embarrassing, actually. It was the worst weekend of my life, probably. But yeah, so I agree with what you're saying about like play smaller maps if you want to get it quicker, but realistically, it's just a lot of luck on shipment too, because you have to, hope someone doesn't spawn directly behind you. You have to have a good team that caps the right flags to get a spawn trap going. You can't have just idiots that rush for the incorrect flag and then get you guys trapped the rest of the game. So a lot of things have to line up to get a nuke. It's not just about your skill level, it's about your team as well and other things. A lot of luck involved.
So if you were a 1.0 KD player and you wanted to get like your Ruthless medal, what would you do? Would you recommend you do?
Probably play Blitz on larger maps when you can find them, and play like Patrol, or if the map's big enough, Dom. Berlin is a really good one. I've gotten the vast majority of my 15 plus kill streaks have all come on Berlin, because even though there's, God, is that 20 versus 20, 24 versus 24 in Blitz? What is it?
I don't know. It's a lot.
It's a lot of people, but
it's a big map.
But when there's that many people, they're less likely to be paying attention to one individual person. So you can kind of sneak off to the side lanes if you're running a suppressor, ghost, keep off the mini map, have an ammo box, shoot at people, get a few kills, and then make sure you move position because that person's going to come back and find you again. Just play those outside lanes, and people won't notice you, essentially. And you'll just start picking people off left and right. You can get a pretty high kill streak going. Run advanced UAV. Why can I not think? Local informants is what it's called.
Local informants,
Vanguard. Yeah. And so, run something like that to help you get a higher kill streak. But bigger maps, play the outside lane. That's, I think, the best way to do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and then I'll reiterate once more the episode on how to get a nuke we've done on Patreon. And you guys can go back and listen to that, by the way, if you're a new patron. We did an episode on how to get a nuke. I think it might have been the nuke breakdown, which was like video only, which you can find on patreon.com/thedropshot. Or, I think we maybe did one. Well, I know we did a Cold War how to get Killer Master episode too.
Yeah.
And many of those tips are going to carry over.
A lot of them do.
So if you guys have never heard that and you're trying to go for Killer Master, maybe go listen to that. But one thing I will reiterate is that camping is a bait. You are not going to be able to camp in one spot or in one room and get 25 or 30 kills. It's not going to happen. People are too spiteful. Because think about if you're playing even 12s. Okay. If you're going to get 30 kills without dying in one room, that means you will have killed either one guy 30 times or every single member of the other team more than twice.
Yeah.
So literally everyone on the other team is going to know where you are, and they're spiteful. It's Call of Duty. I'm spiteful. If some guy is in one room and he kills me twice, I'm canceling all my plans for this match. I'm not going for camos anymore. I'm not shooting down streaks anymore. I'm not going for double kills anymore. I'm not leveling this gun anymore.
You're certainly not going positive.
I'm certainly not going fuck my KD. None of it matters. I'm changing my class to my sweatiest class possible. Dead silence, ghost, all the fucking shit. And I'm going to take the most obtuse, out of the way route possible to come and fuck your ass because I'm spiteful. And many Call of Duty players are like this. You won't be able to sit in one room and get a nuke. It's never going to happen. Because even if they're dog shit, they're going to be spiteful. And 12 people, 6 people who are spiteful on the other team, it's like, okay, I'm going to throw nades in there on every spawn. 3 people doing this at the same time. I'm going to push with a SPAS 12, etc. You're going to die. So another nuke tip, or even ruthless tip here, is that you can camp, play a room, get a couple kills. If you see the same guy once, it's time to go. It's time to move somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because you will die. You will die. So there's another tip for you there.
And then
But
also,
anyways,
you know,
yeah,
to go along with what we were saying is camping, you get complacent and then you make bad decisions. You end up, just watching one lane and someone could be flanking up a different way. And you just get too nervous camping there because you're like, ooh, I need to stay in this exact spot. I just got 7 kills here. Ooh, I'm doing good. I'm going to stay in this spot. But it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. Somebody's going to come back and find you. You have to keep moving. That's why I'm saying, like, for bigger maps, Berlin, get some kills, move position. Don't go back to that spot for at least a couple minutes again. Play somewhere else. Because if that person you just killed respawn and they go back to that spot and you're not there, they're never going to think to look in that spot again. So after a couple minutes, you can go back there again, get some more kills.
Yes.
Just keep confusing them, essentially.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. So next here. So that was a longer discussion than we expected, but that's totally fine. Now there's a little more particular. The Cooper Carbine absolutely fucks in multiplayer. Now I think we've mentioned this before, but this I think is probably the best gun in Vanguard multiplayer right now. I think pretty easily too. I don't think there's a better gun for multiplayer. It feels like an M13 with a giant caveat. What's similar to the M13 is very fast fire rate, good fine damage, which is more than compensated for by how fast the fire rate is, and very little recoil. Good ADS time too. This thing fucks in multiplayer. It's really good. It's really fun to use. It's deeply satisfying to use. It doesn't recoil, does not move. And you can do a lot with it with the attachments to make it really fucking good. So this, I think, is the best gun in Vanguard multiplayer right now.
I think I agree
general.
with you. It's just
All
very
purpose.
fun to use as well. Really fun in Vanguard, really fun in Warzone.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what kind of sucks about the M13 being garbage in Warzone. It's because those guns are so fun to use, but the M13 is just trash, whereas the Coop's actually pretty good in Warzone.
Yes,
so
100%.
Makes it usable and fun.
Now, the only way it's different than the M13, maybe, in Vanguard, is dog shit sprint out time. Now, I was playing with this, and I remember when I was like leveling it, mine was like pretty low level at this time. And Tanner and I were playing Vanguard, and I was like, dude, this thing fucks. This Cooper fucks. And then he was like, yeah, but the sprint out time is pretty bad. And then I played with it a little more, and I was like, dude, fuck, you're right. The sprint out time is pretty dog shit for this. Now, I don't know if the sprint out time for the Cooper Carbine is bad because it's bad for assault rifles in general, or more than I thought Vanguard assault rifles had in general, or if the sprint out time for the Cooper Carbine specifically is worse than other ARs in general, or if I just fucked up my setup for it. I don't know what it, or if it's because I was playing with it with a play style kind of like an SMG, because that's how it feels.
Yeah.
Besides the sprint out time.
Uh-huh.
So it could be one of many reasons why I feel like the sprint out time is bad. I don't know if it actually is or not, or if it's because I'm changing my play style, playing with it differently than I would an automaton, and then noticing sprint out more because I'm trying to incur it more. I don't know what it is, but that I would say is the only potential weakness. But again, I could just be setting it up wrong. What are your thoughts on that?
Sprint out is terrible on this gun. It's been a while since I've used some of these ARs. I can't think of one, though, off the top of my head that has a worse base sprint out time than the Coupe. It feels really, really bad.
It's weird.
Like the Volk has a really quick one, really quick ADS. This is not like that at all. And it's specifically the sprint out time. The actual ADS speed when you're just like walking is not bad. It's just a really horrible sprint out time. And I'm almost wondering if the devs thought about something and was like, with recoil booster, 2 barrels that increase the fire rate, an ammo type that increases the fire rate, and a magazine that increases the fire rate. People are going to try to use this as an SMG, but we want it to be an AR. So I wonder if they thought, let's give it a dog shit sprint out time by base at its base value. So then that makes them use more sprint out attachments. And then, that combined with all the fire rate attachments maybe would give the gun like a little bit more recoil because you're not using recoil,
Right.
something like that. That's kind of what my thoughts are, because I can't think of another AR where I have to use sprints out fire attachments. I don't think I did that with any of them, but this gun, I remember I specifically couldn't wait. I'm like, dude, I can't wait till I hit this level. It was like in the early 20s, I think, so I can get this attachment to increase my sprint out speed because it is so slow right now. And so
interesting. Okay.
And so I was running, I think, one of the front grips, and I think it's the stock. There's a sprint to fire stock, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways,
there might be a grip, rear grip.
Yeah. I think there is. I think there's about 3 total at least. So you're kind of forced to run that with the coupe. So yeah, maybe they actually thought about that, and they're like, we want to keep this feeling like an AR and not an SMG, so let's give it a little bit slower sprint out time.
Yeah, maybe. I think that would be a bad way to balance this type of gun. They've done it, but I think it's bad. But on the other hand, how else would you balance it? Because what I would think is just make it do less damage. Like the M13, even in like MW multiplayer, well, it's not so much the damage as it is like the range. Maybe it's both. But like you have to hit more shots with an M13 than a RAM in multiplayer. Or at least that's true pretty early, because the first damage range is a little lower. I don't know, but you can tell the M13 is like a more light duty than like a RAM in multiplayer. So that's how I would want the Cooper carbine to be balanced. But TTK is awfully fast in this game.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that would do anything. I think maybe what you would want to do is just have the first damage range be really shallow, like 15 meters shallow. So it's like a little more than an SMG. And then you have to get into a second damage range. Whereas a regular AR, maybe the first damage range is 22 meters.
Yeah.
That would be a good way to balance it too, I think. But for us, that wouldn't matter anyway. And that would make this gun just so fucking good on shipment. If they did that instead of the dog shit sprint out time, I don't know. But regardless, in its current state, this is an exceptionally good gun in multiplayer. And it's super fun to use. Once you're cognizant of that sprint out time, you can either build around it or, just alter your play style a little bit. Because you're still going to ADS really quickly. Still not going to move, and it's still going to have a really good fire rate.
Yeah.
This gun's super fun.
Excellent gun.
And the next is the Volk. My Volk is not, well, now my Volk's pretty leveled. It's 50 something, but I remember this being one of my favorite guns base. So like when it was level 1 and I first used it, I was like, damn, this thing's already good with no attachments. Like it just fucks. And I don't remember what about it exactly was so good. I feel like it's got like a higher than normal fire rate.
Yeah, agreed.
Good damage and a little bit of recoil, but not much.
Yeah.
Honestly like an M4, like an MW M4, I think would probably be the analog. It's got like good damage, a little bit of recoil, but not too much. Just kind of fucks. I don't know. Like very all-purpose. I would say this is like the best all-purpose AR that really doesn't specialize in anything. But I'm saying this with an asterisk because my Volk's not max level and I haven't used it in a while. So I could be wrong on this, but I just remember thinking, damn, this thing feels really good and I really like it.
Yeah, Volk at its base, I also really enjoyed too. I think one reason we both kind of like it is because when we played, you and I played a decent amount of Battlefield 5, the latest Battlefield.
Yeah.
My favorite assault class gun in that game is the Volk in this game. So I think that's kind of why I was liking it, because it was very rewarding feeling. It sounded cool in Battlefield 5. It looks cool. It sounds cool in this game. Doesn't have a ton of recoil. It's some recoil patterns as well. It's like almost rewarding controlling them. I don't know how to explain it. It just like feels good controlling some of these recoil patterns, and that gun felt that way for some reason. And then when you throw a little NIDAR on it, certain guns feel better with specific optics on them, I think. I've come around to the MP40, I prefer with an iron sight. You know, something like the Volk, I think a NIDAR works really well on. Something like the Coupe, I think the red dot works really well on. So things like that. And so like the NIDAR on this gun, I don't know, it just felt really, really good. The gun sounds good. It's probably the most all-around assault rifle. I feel like it's not really the best at everything, but it's just really good in pretty much every category, and that makes it fun to use and good, you know?
Yeah. That's a good point. I think you're probably right. I really like it though, for sure.
That was a fun one. That one I remember saying too when I first started using that one, I'm like, dude, this gun feels better at level 1 than some other guns feel at serious like level 40. Like everyone kept talking about the PPSH, how good that was in Vanguard. I fucking hated that gun until literally it was like level 50. It was terrible. I don't remember what attachment it is you finally get that makes it good. I think it was one of the barrels or something maybe. But finally I was like, okay, now I'm getting why people like the PPSH. But it was horrible leveling it up before that, in my opinion. So I think the Volk is just the opposite. Right from level 1, it was just ready to rip, dude.
That's weird about the PPSH. I'm glad you brought that up because yeah, you fucking hated the PPSH. I really liked it.
Gun.
I really liked it.
Well, you're an idiot.
It has really fast fire rate and a lot of recoil. Relative to Vanguard.
Negative recoil.
What?
It goes down when you shoot. Oh, well, not without attachments, no. Yeah, if that's what you're talking about, then you added a shitload of recoil. It also has horrible iron sights, but you don't need to deal with iron sights for more than 3 levels, but that's something to mention.
Yeah, true. I really liked the PPSH, no attachments in Vanguard multi. Really fun. Ton of recoil, but killed so fast because it had such a good fire rate. And I noticed myself just hip firing with it a lot. More than any other gun I've hip fired with in Vanguard. I have yet to try a Vanguard hip fire SMG build. I want to. But right now I'm just leveling shit, so I haven't really like paid attention much to that stuff. And if I'm using an SMG, in general, I usually just build it so that it's competent at long range, but there is something to be said for making hip fire builds. I think a PPSH would be a perfect gun to do that because the higher your fire rate on a gun, the more effective hip fire will be, because when you hip fire, obviously your shots are inaccurate and not all of them are going to land. But the faster your fire rate, the less that matters, because if you miss 2 bullets, you're only adding 10 milliseconds to your TTK, whereas if you hip fire a bar and miss 2 bullets, you're adding 10 minutes to your TTK. So PPSH is really good to just hip fire with, because it's like, oh, half my bullets missed, don't care. Fire rate's 8 billion RPM, so that he's still dead in a second.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's really fun, I think, in multi. But yeah, obviously it gets better with attachments too. But that's a gun where I would never build it to be competent at long range. Like, again, like I was saying earlier, a lot of the SMGs I build in multiplayer, I'll put on the barrel that like increases your damage range and like reduces your recoil and increases your velocity at the cost of aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, and hip fire accuracy, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Because it's still going to be decent. It's going to be better than an AR at close range, even with attachments like that. But then also you can touch people pretty far, farther than you otherwise could. With a PPSH, I would never build it that way. And I think that maybe is the only SMG I can say that for in this game. Because it has such a fast fire rate that I'm never gonna want to like touch people far with this gun. It's not gonna be good at that. It's gonna be so like dog shit at that I'd rather just specialize it to absolutely piss shit and fart all over people really close.
Exactly.
And that's kind of a unique, for me, that's a unique property of the PPSH and Vanguard. It's a gun I'm never using to like long range ever. And I'm just not going to build it that way. I'm building that totally different than every other SMG.
Yeah. I haven't tried mini hipfire builds in multiplayer actually. But I've tried the PPSH hipfire in Warzone, and that fucks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That one's really good. So I would assume in Vanguard it's amazing as well. I mean, it'd be even better with the faster time to kill. So
yeah, exactly, 100%. Next point here. This is kind of a small point. LMGs are fucking dog shit on small maps. As I said, I've been playing like Shipment and DOS House mostly. LMGs on Shipment, don't get me wrong. If you get behind a truck or a box in the corner on Shipment and someone peeks a lane, you will fucking shit on them hard, easily. And it's really good. But two things will happen. So maybe at max level this won't be the case, but I don't think I have an LMG max level yet. Number one, you'll have to reload. And you'll die on Shipment reloading a fucking DP. You'll die.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have enough time.
You may as well just run in the open and get killed. Yeah.
Actually, it takes so fucking long. And also, if you do move your character, the sprint out time is atrocious on LMGs, which is fantastic, as it should be. But you might be tempted. You've maybe seen a TikTok or a YouTube short of someone with an LMG spawn trapping a team on Shipment and just 200 rounds just fucking firing at people spawning in, getting a V2, a double V2, and be like, oh, LMGs are really good on Shipment. Wrong. They're not. They're not. They're great in that very particular circumstance, but in general, they're just not good. Dude, I've had times where I die with an LMG. I spawn, I see a guy looking at me, spawn trapping me. I press aim down sight, and as I'm ADSing, he kills me. Whereas otherwise, if I had like a Cooper carbine, I'm frying that kid as soon as I spawn. Because I clock him before he clocks me. But with an LMG, that doesn't matter. Because even the aim down sight time isn't great. It's not good. You'll die in that situation. So yeah. They're dog shit.
Yeah, I can't say much for LMGs. I really haven't used them in multiplayer at all. They're just so boring. So
I have a lot of fun with them when it works out, but you gotta get situated first, and then if you have to reload, see ya.
That's just not my playstyle. If you're playing like smaller maps too, it's like you just have to play too slow with them, and that's boring to me in multiplayer.
That's exactly what it is. If you're trying to level an LMG, you still should play Shipment. That's still your best bet, obviously. Yeah. For every single weapon. Yeah. That's it doesn't matter how bad it is. But the caveat is, if you're trying to level an LMG, then you have to massively alter your Shipment playstyle to play with it. You can't run and gun. Like, you can get away with it on like an AR, obviously, and you're still going to be disadvantaged against SMGs or shotguns, but it'll be doable. But with an LMG, it's not doable. You can't move your character. You have to change your playstyle and sit on boxes.
Yeah.
100%. So, what is this next point, Tanner?
Next point here. I've been just a piercing vision main lately. It's just so good. So between FMJ and bullet pen attachments, you can just shoot through so many objects on all maps, actually. Shipment and DOS House, obviously the best ones, but you'll notice on normal maps how many things you can shoot through when you use guns that have bullet pen. Like the bar has a bullet pen. What is it? Ammo type? Yeah, it's the ammo type, and then there's also the magazine type, both bullet pen. So you. Oh
yeah,
yep. Like so use that with piercing vision.
Driller? I think it's called Driller.
That's what it is. Yeah, Driller. Yeah. And so that crazy
fuck,
good.
dude.
It's like it's almost like there's no damage drop off through the wall either. It's like you're shooting someone behind a 1 foot concrete wall, and you can see where they're at with piercing vision, and it's like you're killing them as fast as if they were on the wall just right in front of you, you know? So I've been using that a lot. Gives you a major benefit too when someone tries to ego chow you after you've already damaged them, or suppress them, so they're showing up through piercing vision. You know they're re-peeking you again because they're rats and they want to ego chow you. And then you just start pre-firing the shit out of that, and you'll end up winning a lot of gunfights where you otherwise wouldn't, because you know you get hit with that COD timing. You hit someone without piercing vision. They run behind a little wall or something. You expect them to peek from another area, but no, then they come right back. You're already looking to the right where you expect them to peek. They peek the same corner you just damaged them, and they kill you. Piercing vision, that doesn't ever happen because you know where they're going, and then you can see them running. So if you do damage to them, they start running over a different lane. Then you can start pre-firing that. Get your gun, ADS'd, ready to go on that corner. Pre-fire the shit out of them. Fire a few more shots through that wall. They'll get suppressed again. They're back on piercing vision. It is just such a good perk. That category too is full of really good perks. Your radar, high alert, forward intel. But piercing vision is just a really fun one to run, I think. It's just so nice when you can suppress them through a wall, miss shots, but they're still going to show up on that for a short period of time.
But
it doesn't last that long. It's not that broken of a perk, really, because they go away pretty quick after you.
Yeah, they do.
So it's not like you're seeing them for a second and a half straight. It's like, no, it's pretty quick and then they're gone. But you can keep them suppressed for a long time. That is one thing about it. But yeah, so it's just a really fun perk for me. That's what I've been running on every single class. It was just when I was running FMJ and stuff, and then that's when I started to realize, like, dude, this is actually a really good perk, even if you're not running FMJ and just shooting people through walls.
Exactly what I was gonna say.
It just works for everything. So that's what I've been on lately.
Yeah. Yep. I'm totally with you, and your last point is what I was gonna say. Like, you can run FMJ and driller and and piercing vision and like wallbang the fuck out of people. And like, I tried that. I ran FMJ. So you're not losing too much running that over like, lengthened or something.
Yeah,
or
and you don't really
frangible.
need like lengthened in multiplayer,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you're not really losing much running FMJ. So like, I was doing that and running piercing vision, and I still didn't find myself getting many wallbang kills, because like, if you're shooting someone and they duck behind a wall and then you continue wall banging them, that's great. And that's like what it's good for. But other than that, like, if you suspect someone's behind a wall, to get suppression, you have to just fire shots. And then it's, like, I don't know. I wasn't getting that many bullet pen kills, and piercing vision was not helping me get many pen kills, even when I was running FMJ. But the biggest benefit I noticed was, like Tanner was saying, the repeak shit. And this is the same, we just talked about this on episode 191. This is why Combat Scout now is just so fucking good in Warzone. I was talking about an instance where Combat Scout is only slightly different than piercing vision. An instance where all my dogshit teammates were dead, and then 4 people were pushing me, and I hear one guy coming miraculously, peek out, shoot him, have Combat Scout, so he lights up. He rips the fuck out of me, so I go back behind cover, but I still know where he is, and I know that he's ADS strafe peeking me here. I re-peek, and I can pre-aim literally exactly where he is.
Yeah.
Pre-fire him, and I get the kill, and I am 100% certain I die there and do not kill that guy without Combat Scout.
Yeah.
Because you know exactly where to pre-aim, exactly where he is, if he's taking a different angle, or if he's going to repeat the same angle, or if he's going to run away, like you were saying. And piercing vision functions exactly the same way in multiplayer, and it is arguably better in multiplayer because you can get more wallbang kills. In Warzone with 250 health, with 250 health, you can get combat scout wallbang kills pretty reliably, but it's way harder because there's way more health. Obviously, you have to land more shots, and your shots are doing less damage because they're penetrating shit. Duh. But in multiplayer, wallbang kills are very easy. It's maybe one extra shot. With FMJ, it might be 0 extra shots. You're doing damage as if they were, right in front of you. So that makes it arguably even better in multiplayer than it is in Warzone.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's really the only reason I run piercing vision. The odd wallbang here and there is nice, but in a typical match, piercing vision will. And by the way, another way you guys need to conceptualize multiplayer is this. If you add something to your gun or your class, your perk, whatever, that gets you an extra kill that you wouldn't otherwise get, you need to not think about that as, oh, that's one extra kill I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. But that's not that big of a deal. It's just one kill. Wrong. Here's how you should be thinking about it. One one extra kill I wouldn't have otherwise gotten. And now because that guy's dead, he's not going to kill me. So it's one kill I wouldn't have otherwise gotten and one death I would have otherwise had that I didn't have because I got the kill. That is what makes the one extra kill much more impactful than you might think, because that's 90% of the time. The difference between you getting a kill and not getting the kill is also the difference between you dying and not dying. So if piercing vision, again, in a typical match, because of that repeak factor, that'll probably get me 2 or 3 kills every match just because I have the perk that I wouldn't have otherwise gotten, which is another way to say that is 2 or 3 deaths I would have had, 2 or 3 streaks that would have ended prematurely that I would have otherwise had that I didn't have because I had piercing vision. This perk fucks so hard, and it's good on every map because people repeak angles at 100 meters and they do it at 1 meter too. It's so goddamn important. It's so good. I don't know if it's better than forward intel in every situation, but it might be. I'm hard pressed to say it isn't, because forward intel is really good too.
Yeah,
so I'm hard pressed to say it is also. I don't know what's better. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think it's always better, piercing vision?
Well, like we were saying to start, we're mostly playing small maps right now. So if I was playing only larger map blitz, then no, I wouldn't be running piercing vision. I probably would be running like forward intel or something, or radar. But there's no reason to run any other red perk pretty much on smaller maps except for piercing vision, actually. And that's how I feel about FMJ too. Is like, I don't need lengthen, I don't need any other ammo type for ARs or LMGs, so I end up just using FMJ, and it gets you a lot of kills that way. SMGs, no, absolutely don't use FMJ, because even that, they balance it pretty well in this game, in the sense that you can't just wallbang the same with an SMG with FMJ like you can with an AR or LMG with FMJ. It doesn't. Yes. It doesn't pen nearly as well. So, but for ARs and LMGs, that's just always my go-to, and you end up getting a lot that way. And like you're saying about Warzone, Combat Scout, it's really good for getting intel, but you're not going to get any wallbang kills because you can't afford on an AR to run FMJ in Warzone because you need lengthened. So it's like, you can see where someone's at from Combat Scout, but it's not going to get you many actual wallbang kills. I mean, it's never gotten me one ever. It just shows you where people are at pretty much. I've gotten quite a few, but it's because I've run it way more than you have. Yeah. I should actually try a class with FMJ, and couldn't be the coupe because I run the smaller ammo
You can
type.
still get wallbangs without FMJ. I don't think it would be worth it in Warzone. Because like when Combat Scout came out, there was no FMJ. I mean, there was an attachment. No one used it, obviously. And I would still get like a couple of wallbang kills. So you could run Combat Scout and go for bangs without FMJ. I
Yeah,
don't think it would be worth
most of
giving
the
up
buildings
lengthen.
though, your bullets won't actually go through at all, I don't think, unless you have FMJ. Like those little,
Interesting.
like the little like wooden little shacks and shit that are around the map, those you can shoot through without FMJ, but if someone is in like a normal building, your bullets won't go through at all. And
Interesting.
and FMJ would probably fix that, but it'd be something interesting to try.
True.
Ultimately, it's not going to be better
yeah.
than lengthened in almost all situations, but it'd be something interesting to try out.
I think maybe if you're running like a coupe carbine and because of, or something with like higher recoil, and because of that, you're not going to take gunfights as far away as you would with like an STG, then maybe you're going to be like, I'm not going to be, this has too much recoil to shoot people far away anyway. Therefore, by the time bullet velocity matters, it already has too much recoil regardless. So velocity is less important for this gun. Let me try FMJ since I'm running Combat Scout anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good idea. Yeah. Maybe it is. Yeah. So, but yeah, piercing vision is just for the repeaks is so much. That's way more important to me than getting wallbang kills. And it happens way more often.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. What is this next point here, Tanner?
This is just a little point, but something I thought of again. We kind of talked about this, but the field upgrades in this game are so bad, dude.
Yeah.
Between like the there's 9 different field upgrades. I just always find myself taking supply box, which is ammo box, and then just not even needing it or forgetting to even use it half the time because that's how bad the other field upgrades are. I mean, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just something I've come to notice more as I played the game more often. It's like, what are you going to run? Dead silence? You don't hear footsteps either way. It doesn't matter. Ninjas in the game. Doesn't matter. You're going to run tactical insertion? Goliath? Yeah. It's like, what is going on here? The field upgrades are so fucking bad. Almost to the point where I'm like, why are field upgrades even in this game? None of them are good. None of them have, like, in Modern Warfare, they were good because you could use dead silence and there was no perk for it. And you could hear footsteps very loud. So, like, there were more options to use in, like, MDev, for example. But in this game, just terrible. Are you still just running ammo box, or what are you usually on?
So I would say the only other field upgrade worth running would be dead drop. Even post fix.
Yeah, that's true.
It's still good.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the default field upgrade you should use. Now, with that said, no, I'm not running it. I'm running supply box also because I'm leveling guns.
Yeah, you don't
I
care
don't
about
have fully
getting
loaded
streaks.
on a lot of shit. And that too. I don't give a shit.
I would rather not get kills with my streaks because then that's less kills I'm getting with my gun to level it up, you know?
Exactly, yeah. So I think if I was trying to, like, again, go for a V2 or something, I would run fully loaded and then... Oh, no, I wouldn't run dead drop. Yeah, no, I'd run supply box, actually. Yeah,
exactly.
So if I was playing against some people I really wanted to beat, I would run dead drop for sure, and then fully loaded.
If you want to actually, like, sweat really hard and aren't trying to level up guns and you're a little loser still using your gold STG and have no other guns leveled up past 10, then dead drops for you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No
if you have no bitches, then... That's what they say, right?
That's what they say. Yep.
We support women.
Oh,
I was just trying to get on the
Dropshot LLC.
You ain't got no bitches. Well, okay, they're nice young ladies, and sex work is real work. Hashtag sex work is real work. Unironically, I believe that. By the way, people consume porn.
Probably
you
more
need people to do it. So
probably more real work than doing a podcast about a video game, actually.
Absolutely, more work. Yeah, absolutely more work. Yeah,
you go, girl.
They have to, like, shave and fucking do makeup.
Oh, you don't do anything. You barely manage to put a shirt on.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, and that's already just almost too much effort for me. So maybe I should start camming. I wouldn't have to put a shirt on.
You actually wear a shirt less often than sex workers do. That's what's crazy. You have your shirt off more than they do. Yeah. You're a sex worker now that I think about it.
Fuck me.
Got it.
Anyways.
We'll let that out. We will definitely edit out. Holy shit, man.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, I agree with you. I think dead drop would be the sweaty field upgrade to run, but there's no reason to run anything else. Yeah.
If you got no bitches, I agree with that.
If you So anyway, all right, Tanner. Well, anything else you would like to discuss today?
Just one last thing to say real quick here.
Okay.
I still haven't played Champion Hill, have no interest in this game mode, don't see anyone playing it, no one talking about it, no tournaments for it. Game mode's dead on arrival, like I said, and I had numerous people getting mad at me because they play the alpha and they're like, no, this is really fun, this is going to be a popular game mode, there's going to be a bunch of tournaments and shit for it. Dead on arrival. So seriously, if any of you are playing Champion Hill, maybe we're really missing out, but I haven't heard a single thing about it, no interest in playing it. So let us know in the Discord or something if you guys actually played Champion Hill, because I'm genuinely curious to see if there's people out there that are like playing this often at all.
I would be shocked if literally one person played this regularly.
Yeah.
In our Discord. I would be
have to agree.
genuinely surprised. I would bet money no one does. Like, no, of the 2,000 plus people in our Discord, 0.
One of the Sledgehammer devs tweeted out an image of like one of his Champion Hill scores. I'm like, oh, you're probably the dev that thought of the Champion Hill game mode, and that's why you're playing it.
Yeah, true. By the way, these are the devs balancing our game.
Yeah.
They don't play their game, so that was a doctored screenshot. But if they do, best case scenario, the devs play Champion Hill. How are you going to know how to do anything balance-wise for your game if you're playing Champion Hill?
Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's probably just devs playing against other devs. It's the fucking 4 guys that worked on Champions Hill just constantly 2v2ing each other. God. Yeah.
Probably,
hey, you guys getting on? Let's queue. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Hey, let's queue at the same time. Maybe we can get in the same lobby. But they're just the only people queuing.
Exactly, yeah.
Got it.
All right, boys and girls, that is it. So for you patrons, thank you. We love you guys. We appreciate you. If you are listening to this on the podcast feed, the regular feed, because this is a Patreon gone public episode, we hope you enjoyed. And I think I will restate what I said at the outset. And I think this is more true now than I did at that time. This is a very emblematic Patreon episode. Patreon episodes go very similarly to this one. Quite a bit different topics, different topic formats, and different kind of rhythm and energy and vibe, as you kids say. So we hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did enjoy it, patreon.com/thedropshot. Excuse me. Best way to support the program. We do 5 bonus episodes a month, similar to this one. We're going to be doing more in come February and beyond. And we get the most bang for your buck there, and you get the most bang for your buck there as well. So once again, patreon.com/thedropshot. Patrons got it early. Patrons got it without ads. And we very rarely release Patreon episodes publicly like this. We won't be doing it again for a long time. So if you want to continue listening to these, sign up. And to our existing patrons, we love you guys. We appreciate you. You've made this an awesome year. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever the fuck you're doing. And we are very eternally grateful for your guys' support, allowing us to do this, and we appreciate you more than you perhaps know. So that is it. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Have an excellent evening, of course. And as always, remember, stay humble.
Merry Christmas. Stay humble.